Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Chris-Beth Cowie, the founder of Empowered Facts and the host of BizGrams. We've created this platform where we get a chance to interview some dynamic entrepreneurs, learn about their stories and their entrepreneurial journey, and the powerful things that they're doing in the community at large, locally and globally. I'm really excited to have Nadia here with us, the founder of 2114 Consultancy Services, and her company works with social enterprise to help them, systemize and create structures to help their businesses grow and flourish. So thank you so much, Nadia, for being here with us this morning. Welcome.
Thank you, Chris-Beth and the team for the invitation and making this possible for us to share the work that we do.
Hey, awesome. I'm super excited. So Nadia, tell us a little bit about yourself and who or what inspired you to get started on your entrepreneurship journey?
I can't really answer the first without the second. So I grew up with everyone in the family as an entrepreneur. Everyone around me owned their own business. Even if they had a separate career, like a professional career, they also owned their own business. And so my generation, siblings, cousins, we all grew up doing anything from being the secretary to the janitor to, we just filled any role in any of the family businesses that we had around us. So we had this really cool idea growing up back in Barbados that, you have your career. This is like what you're passionate about. If you need to go to school, for a few extra years to learn what you have to learn to do that, then you go do that. But then your money comes from your business. And so I just always assumed that everybody was an entrepreneur of some sort. I didn't realize it was any kind of talent. I didn't realize it was, anything special. And then I had the fortune of studying actuarial science in a business school as opposed to a math school. So I ended up with basically a business degree that had an actuarial focus. Whereas most actuaries come from, just pure math, right? So then I had a chance to layer this really deep knowledge of business systems on top of that experience of just always being around business, right? And so it's really hard to untangle the two.
Tell us, what would you say is the main takeaway or essence that you want people to know about social enterprises as they're known today?
Yes. So the biggest thing to consider is, with business comes with its own tenets, right? It has their principles there, and we've been passing them on from generation to generation. But now in our generation, we get a chance to ask questions like, is this really the best way, right? And so just because we've been doing it for a long time, it doesn't mean that that's the way we have to continue to do it, right? We can still maximize profit, but then what do we do with the profit after we maximize it? That's the big change, is the shift. At the end of the day, one thing I love about working with small businesses is that they belong to the community. Right? They're not far away and aloof and, off in, I don't know, Tahiti somewhere, right? They're right here. When you support a small business, you're sending that kid to camp, right? That belongs to that family. You're supporting, a family member who is ill that entrepreneur is also responsible for taking care of. They're right there, a part of the community. And so when we tap into social entrepreneurship, specifically among small businesses, we are doing all the things that we talk about in development. We're actually doing it. And one of my mantras has been, okay, let's actually do development now, right? I've been in plenty of meetings, right? And I've been a part of writing the reports and doing the research and all of that. And after a while, it just becomes really overwhelming, the amount of work that goes into doing nothing. And so when we realize that the fix is really simple and it's at our fingertips and it's been here all along, when we empower the community economically and also emotionally and create connectivity within the community, there's less burden on our governments, There's less burden on our wider civil society organizations. There's less burden on our community members to uphold themselves and one another, right? It's an integrated approach to having our small microcosmic communities do better so that macro economics looks better at the end of the day. So that's, I mean, I've been championing this for a very long time. And I think throughout the pandemic now we are seeing it, it's so blatant, right? For nonprofits, there's a shift where younger people don't want to just make a donation anymore like older generations did, but they're really okay to make a purchase knowing it's going to do good, right?
Yes.
There's been a big shift since 2008 when the banks that were too big to fail actually failed, right? And the consumer became smarter about their dollar. And the consumer started making demands of the business world, demanding transparency, demanding more openness, demanding that they actually do some good. And so 50 years ago, we would have had debates on, actually not even so long, 10 years ago, we had debates on, well, should a business actually, take their shareholders' money and, give it to a school? That's, it's not ethical as a business to do that. And now the consumer is saying, if you want my dollar, you will go give that money to that school, right? And so now shareholders are understanding, oh, wait a minute, we need to be a part, of our community. And so going with that massive movements and change and actually being strategic about how to not just fit into the changing wave, but to design it. I mean, that is powerful. That's where we are. That's the opportunity we have today.
Hey, that is wonderful. So talk to us a little bit more about your journey to where you are today. What challenges have you experienced along the way and the lessons that you've learned that you'd be happy to share with us here today?
Oh, challenges and lessons, Chris-Beth. We don't have enough time.
Yes.
First of all, I felt for a long time like I was shouting through a foghorn in a soundproof room, where it's like you're trying to get the message out and no one else can actually hear what you're saying. It's like a glass case, but they can see you, but they can't hear you, kind of thing. And then the pandemic hit and people started to suddenly hear, the message that, we've been preaching for so long. And so it had been quite a challenge initially to be able to say, hey, look, what can we do in your business that will allow you to touch base with your community more? Or what can we do in your nonprofit that would, ease up some of this red tape that's so unnecessary, right? Yes. You're spending so much time writing reports that you're not delivering your best to your community. How can we streamline this? And you would get a lot of, this is how it's always been done, or, this is just our system. And I'm like, well, it's not a system, it's a habit, but it's not a system, right? And so that was certainly a challenge. I think when I started working with nonprofits in Canada in particular and realizing when it came to private sector engagement, for example, it was very kind of one track minded. It was very much like, okay, well, businesses have plenty of money, they can give us money, and I'd be like, oh, no. Their money is not your money. You're not entitled to it, right? So how are you going to approach it? And how do you actually do that with the system? And so while it was a challenge, it also gave me the insight to tap in and say, okay, I can help specifically with private sector engagement because I can lay down the roadmap that gets you there, And so, the lessons, right? You're constantly learning and growing and shifting and whatnot. But then to see our clients have that freedom to maneuver, to have them feel more connected to their mission and their mandate, to know that they are fired up, that their communities are ready and raring to go, that they're not scratching their head about the next grant and how many hours they have to put into writing the next proposal, just to have more freedom to plan and to stay connected to their community and not have to shut programs down just because, funding has disappeared. All of that has been a really amazing journey that I'm grateful for.
Thank you so much for being here. It has been a wonderful experience. You instilled within me, go and play today, Chris-Beth. Some creativity. This week is kind of like my reconnect, unplug, but I've committed to being here to host BizGrams. But I value what you shared about social enterprise. My encouragement to this community, you all know I am very passionate about social enterprise. We help people structure their social enterprises. And, I think Nadia and her team would be a super awesome connection and benefit for you to connect, to learn more about it so that you could figure out how you could take your business into the next, business revolution in a sustainable way ultimately. So Nadia, thank you. I'm sending you out with lots of love, blessings for today and beyond. Have a wonderful day. Take care.
Thank you everyone. Thank you, Chris-Beth.
Bye.